नमस्कार सार मैंने आज आम पेडागोजी इंग्लिश पेडागोजी यूनिट 2 सब क्वेश्चन आंसर देखा MCQ. What type of questions promote thinking skills in children? Option A, open-ended questions. Students explore the meaning and information about lessons. Option A, during silent reading. Dictation text the skill of dash. Option C, listening and writing. Intonation is learnt through. Option B, listening. The objective of note taking is to develop option B, listening and writing. Questions on comprehension test the learner's ability of option D, writing. Spacing is necessary for option B, writing. Which of the following activities comes first while teaching the prose text? Option A, driving the whole text into sense group. Using intonation is necessary both for option C, speaking and reading. Collection and organization of ideas, sequencing, cohesion, and use of vocabulary are sub-skills of option D, writing. The word break is pronounced as option B-R-E-I-K. Aesthetic sense is developed through option C, poetry. Studying English as a second language will help us, option D, to open the window to the knowledge of the world. Grammar should be taught through option C, skills. There was a monkey from Raigar who rode on a tiger. The word underlined in the first line can be taught through option D, guessing the meaning from the context. The objective of dash is to listen and write. Option A, note taking. Students read a small text about how make tea and they draw a flow chart using the information of the text. The activity test learners' skill in option A, transfer of learning. The phonic transcription of the word call is option A, KAL, call. Note taking helps the learners to develop their option C, listening and writing. Teaching grammar should focus on option C, communicative function of language. Put the following lines in order and get a poem. But the ships that sail across the sky, ships sail in the sea, boats sail in the river, are prettier far than these. The text from in this box is of dash type, sequencing. Using correct stress, intonation, and pause comes under the subskill of option B, speaking. Non-detailed text develop option B, extensive reading. In a dialogue practice, days are taken care of. Option A, listening and speaking. Dyslexia is associated with dash order. Option A, reading. Crossword puzzle is used during dash the stage of a lesson. Option B, post reading. Which of the following involves a receptive skill? Option D, to follow verbal direction. Which of the following is concerned with the real life situation? Option A, functional grammar. Reading the underlined sounds of the following words. Which one is the correct English pronunciation? Option D, hospital. Which of the following is a faulty habit of silent reading? Option C, using dictionary for understanding. Which of the following is not a purpose of creative writing? Option D, repetition. Which of the following is a faulty habit of silent reading? Option A, progressive eye movement. The objective of teaching property at upper primary level are to make the learners, option C, enjoy, understand and appreciate the poem. Grammar should be taught to option D, develop learners' basic language skill. Learners need to brainstorm ideas, organize them, draft, edit, or revise their work. This is a process of option A, writing. Pause, stress, and intonation are associated with option D, speaking. The phonic transcription of the word tell is Option D, TELL. Knowledge of punctuation can be tested through the test of option C, writing. The first skill required for learning a language is option C, listening. Which of the following does not come under the subskill of speaking? Option D, scheming. Which of the following is not a principle of communicative language teaching? Option C, repetition and drilling are used maximally. Remedial teaching is useful and effective learning strategy for helping DES. Option D, the slow learners. The aim of teaching prose is to option D, cultivate the skill of using language materials. Grammar should be taught option C, in context. Which of these is not a component of a good speech? Option D, grammar. Language is best understood when it is presented in a option A, context. At times, students in your class are not a good mood of to study. What should you do? Option option D, you allow them to come up with what they want to do and gradually connect them with your plan. Effective learning takes place when the learners are option C, interactive. The subskill of DES is scheming. Option A, reading. For learning a language perfectly and scientifically, the first two micro skills that learners should come across into the process are option B, listening and speaking. The term like smile and metaphor are associated with option B, poetry. Conservation chart is used by teacher because it develops option A, spoken skill. The teaching of grammar in elementary and secondary stages should aim at option C, language skill and functions. In teaching of English, the term exposition is related to with option B, presentation. The spoken skill out of four macro skills in a language teaching can be developed through option C, enabling activities with a focus on conservation skill leading to communicative competence. Which is the first component of a sentence? Option C, syllabus. Which of the following creates exposure to the sounds of a language? Option A, listening. Language is initially learned through option C, imitation. Encoding is related to option B, writing. What is what it is when some portion of a sentence altered with more degree of force? Option D, stress. What is articulation related to? Option A, sound. Which of the following is a multilingual skill? Option C, reading. Which of the following is not a time statement? Option C, reading is associated with a phonic substance. Use of appropriate vocabulary is essential in the skill of option B, speaking and writing. Decoding is essential while option C, reading. Using appropriate vocabulary is important in the skill of option C, speaking and writing. Listener has no choice but to receive what the speaker says. Still, what is the reason for considering listening as an active skill? Option B, listener interprets and comprehends the speaker. Which of the following implies continuity? Option A, coherence. Interactive listening is option A, listening and responding. A test of listening is a test of option B, receptivity. Reading skill can be developed best by option D, larger eye span and proper corning. Which of the following is not a correct statement? Option B, covert behavior can be seen when one speaks. Which of the following is correct in respect of objectives? Option D, all of the above statements. Given below are the language skills. Which of these are receptive skills? Option A, 1 and 3. Which of the following combinations are productive skills? Option C, speaking and writing. Which aspect of language deals with grammar? Option D, all of these. Which of the following indicates rise and fall of tone? Option C, intonation. Spacing is a requirement in the skill of option D writing. Which type of reading can facilitate pronunciation? Option A reading aloud. Reading skill improves. Option D the other three language skills. Which of the following skill is initiated in a traditional approach? Option A reading. One comprehends better while reading. Option B silently. In depth study is intended for. Option C detailed analysis. Simulation and role play are used for. Option B speaking. Revising is a critical aspect of. Option C writing. Brainstorming is more useful for. Option D writing. Which of the following is not a requirement for the writing skill? Option C assent. Pedagogy refers to. Option B instructional strategy. Grammar is focused on. Option A translation method. Use of mother tongue is inhibited. Option D direct method. Use of mother tongue in teaching English by teacher is allowed in. Option C bilingual method. Which of the following is a correct statement? Option C method tells us how to teach. Herbertation, Herberson lesson plan originally follows. Option A 5 steps. In actual practices, Herberson lesson plan is modified and uses. Option B 3 steps. Which of the following is related to preparation of Herberson plan? Option A law of readiness. Which of the following is related to life context? Option D application. What does the first E refer in the 5E approach? Option B engage. Which of the following is a wrong statement? Traditional lesson plan ensures learning. Constructive approach banks upon. Option D learners collaboration. Prose is considered a language lesson as it deals with. Option D all of these. Which of the following is a wrong statement? Intensive reading is developed through non-detailed prose. Recapitulation is used for. Option A introduction. Reading about in prose is meant for. Option D all of these. Exposition of words in prose is intended for. Option B meaning and use. Questions during comprehension meant for. Option C understanding. Questions set in application are connected to. Option B specific objectives. Your approach of evaluation is. Option D assessment and feedback. Nature of questions set for application is. Option C objective based. Which of the following two most suitable for testing understanding? Option B multiple choice. What type of vocabulary is covered in non-detailed prose? Option A passive. What sort of reading is dealt with in detailed prose? Option C intensive in depth. Non-detailed prose develops. Option D all of these. Poetry is primarily a lesson for. Option B literature. In poetry one appreciates. Option D all of these. Which of the following is a wrong statement? Option C poetry is said to be a lesson for eyes. He has a heart of stone. The underlined expression is an example of. Option A metaphor. Repetition of a letter in succession of words is. Option B alliteration. What is the main purpose of reciting the poem twice at the beginning? Option C creating an atmosphere. How is comprehension stage in poetry is different from prose? Option D addition of appreciation. What does appreciative recitation signify? Option A appropriate understanding. Which of the following is a correct statement? Option B poetry is finer spirit of language. Which of the following step is more linked to learner's construction of knowledge? Option C exploration. Which of the following are present in Herbertian's step of presentation? Option C explore, explain, and elaborate. Which of the following grammar type believes that a human being is born with the capacity of acquiring language? Option D, grammar 4. What sort of grammar it is? When rules of language are explained or taught. Option B, formal. In L1, a child learn grammar of that language. Option B, functionally. Which grammar analyzes language scientifically? Option A, descriptive. Which of the following is a barrier in learning English? Option C, too much of formal grammar. Which grammar is useful for learners? Option B, functional grammar. Moving from a particular to general in option C, inductive method. Which grammar consolidates theoretical aspect of a grammar? Option B, G2. Deductive method is used for option D, application. Which is major skill development in essay writing? Option B, sequencing of ideas. Which technique is used for generating ideas? Option A, brainstorming. Which method is used in developing essay? Option C, discussion. Which is essentially for improving essay? Option C, revising. Which of the following requires critical thinking? Option C, reflective essay. Where are the place and date of writing letter mentioned? Option A, right hand top corner. In which of the following subject is mentioned? Option B, formal letter. Creative writing requires option C, imagination. Creative writing is a sort of option B, free composition. In creative writing, the students exhibit their option D, all of these. In order to encourage creative writing, a teacher should option D, provide suggestions. Creative writer thinks option B differently. Teacher can encourage creative writing through teaching of option D, all of these. A creative learner option A, imagines. Which demands more creativity? An incomplete option story. Constant correction of creative writing option C, discourages. In order to write more creatively, one should option D, keep on writing. After a storytelling session, the learners are asked to change the ending of the story. This will help the learners option A, become imaginative and creative. Which of the following will help the learners take greater responsibility for their own learning? Option D, peer assessment. Under constructivist approach to language learning, learners are encouraged to option B, discover the rules of grammar from examples. The main purpose of assessment is option D, to improve the teaching learning process. What type of questions promote thinking skill in children? Option A, open ended questions. Students needed to brainstorm ideas, organize them, draft, edit, and revise their work is a process which reflects option B, writing skill. At the beginning, a child learns a language by option C, imitation. Mother tongue is acquired. Natural language context provide option A, exposure. Sentence patterns are mastered by option D, all of these. Language patterns are graded considering their option C, all of these. When all language skills are dealt together, it is option B, multi skill approach. Drilling of patterns involves option C, repetition. When various languages are used in teaching, it is option B, multilingual approach. A child learns language at the initial stage from option C, family members. Days plays an important role in language learning. Option C, motivation. Substitution drill is a technique used in option D, the direct method. Which is an incorrect statement? Option B, all the learners have equal exposure of English language. Impact of mother tongue is mostly on option C, pronunciation. Teachers lack sufficient command over option C, both A and B. There is a lack of option C, both A and B. Language is best learnt through option D, all of these. The behavior with which one begins next higher class is option B entire behavior. Learners remain silent in English class because they option C lack confidence. The teacher can empower themselves by option D all of these. The behavior with which a learner completes a class is option A terminal behavior. English teachers should consider the learners option D all of these. Language games can consolidate the pupil skills of option D listening, speaking, reading and writing. Which of the following is a value associated with an inclusive classroom? Option A sympathy. When the young learners seem to lose interest in a lesson, the teacher should option C tell a story or conduct an interesting activity. ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆମର ୟୁନିଟ୍ 2 ପେଡାଗୋଜିର ସବୁ MCQ ସରିଲା। ଏହାପରେ ଆମର ୟୁନିଟ୍ 3 ଅଛି ଆସେସମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ ଲର୍ଣ୍ଣିଂ ଇଂଲିଶ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ। ସେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଆମର ଚ୍ୟାନେଲକୁ ଲାଇକ୍ କରନ୍ତୁ, ସେୟାର କରନ୍ତୁ ଆଉ ସବସ୍କ୍ରାଇବ୍ କରନ୍ତୁ। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ।